What happens when the galaxy's deadliest assassin crash lands on a forgotten world, and discovers a human child calling her Mama? This is the story of a weapon who learned to feel again. Kesvara had ended the lives of 17 warlords, 43 politicians, and countless mercenaries who dared oppose her employers. Her name was whispered in the dark corners of spaceports across the Andromeda sector. Bounty hunters trembled at her reputation. Entire security forces had failed to stop her. She was perfection incarnate, a weapon forged from logic, discipline, and the complete absence of emotion. Then she crashed on Kepler 442b. The escape pod systems had been damaged during the firefight over Titan Station. Kesvara had barely limped the vessel to the surface before the engines gave out completely. She emerged from the wreckage into a lush forest of bioluminescent vegetation, her black combat suit blending seamlessly with the shadows. She would repair the pod within hours. She would resume her mission, but the ruins nearby changed everything. That it was a human settlement, abandoned, judging by the silence. Kesvara moved through the skeletal structures with methodical precision, scanning for threats. In the center dwelling, she found the cryogenic pod, ancient by galactic standards, still humming with residual power. Inside was a child, a human infant, no more than 2 years old, sleeping peacefully behind frosted glass. Kesvara's logical mind categorized the situation instantly. The pod was from the colony ship that had crashed here 50 years ago. The child had been placed in cryosleep, likely by a dying parent. The settlement had been abandoned. No rescue would come, the infant would die. She should have left immediately. She should have continued her repairs and forgotten the scene entirely. Attachment was weakness. Emotion was inefficiency. Instead, Kesvara opened the pod. The child stirred as the cryostasis released. Small eyes, brilliant green and impossibly fragile, blinked open. An infant gaze met the tall, shadowed figure above her, and instead of crying, she smiled. A tiny hand reached upward. Mama, the child whispered. Something in Kesvara's chest tightened. Her neural implants registered the anomaly, a cascade of neurochemicals she had surgically suppressed 15 years ago. Emotion, returning, unstoppable. Kesvara named the child Arya. For the next 3 weeks, as she worked on repairing the escape pod, she found herself deviating from every optimal behavior pattern she had ever lived by. She crafted blankets from salvage fabric. She sang to Arya at night, songs from a language she had nearly forgotten, a language from her own childhood before she became an assassin. She held the small girl while she slept, her combat-trained hands gentle and protective. She taught Arya to laugh. When the repairs were complete, the pod was flight-ready. Kesvara stood at the threshold of the dwelling with Arya sleeping against her chest in a makeshift sling, and made her first emotional decision in 20 years. She destroyed the pod's navigation systems. The communications console still functioned. She sent a message to her employers, her voice devoid of inflection: I am dead. The target was eliminated. Do not search for me. It was the only lie she had ever told them. She and Arya remained in the settlement. Kesvara used her combat training to hunt, to build shelter, to create safety. She taught Arya words, songs, and the names of constellations. She built traps to catch water during the rare rainstorms. She became what she had never been, a mother. One evening, Arya sat on her shoulders, watching the spiral arms of the galaxy shimmer above them. The child wrapped her tiny arms around Kesvara's head and whispered, Mama, I love you. The galaxy's most feared assassin, the woman who had killed without hesitation or remorse, felt tears slide down her face. She held her daughter close and understood something no amount of combat training or neural enhancement could ever teach her. Love was the strongest force in any universe. She was no longer Kesvara the assassin, she was something infinitely more powerful, a mother, and she would defend her daughter with the same lethal precision she had once reserved for contracts. Only this time, her motivation wasn't cold logic. That it was everything she had destroyed in herself to become a weapon.